I really want to move on to some shit I'm super glad I paid for, which is the Fabfilter Bundle. And if you can get it on a deal, awesome. I ended up opting for the mix and master bundle that has like Pro L2, Pro C, Pro R. So the limiter, compressor, reverb, gate, which I basically never use, but the multiband compression, which I use all the time. And of course, Pro Q3, which is like, the best EQ if you're going to EQ things. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I imagine you guys can agree with that. Like, Pro Q3 is indispensable. Pro L2 is double indispensable. Literally on every track I ever bounce. Amazing limiter. Pro C, just a really, 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 really good compressor. Pro R, super clean, super dope reverb. Sounds nice and expensive. A lot of good options, including the chorus or like singular voice. Making it darker or brighter, changing the room shape. You can like take all of those settings, and there's like a multiplier knob where you can like up the percentage of what that's doing. So like you keep all your settings as a ratio, but you multiply it by this one knob. It's fucking great. Pro R FTW.
Yeah, there's so many good things in that bundle, but honestly, just for Pro Q3, it's alone. It's amazing.
Yeah.
More than worth it.
Yeah, and one I didn't get, the one that I'm kind of, they have like, their filters and like Volcano, which is like a kind of distorty filter, I think, and then like Timeless, which is a weird delay thing. Those are cool and all. I didn't love those, but I do miss not having Saturn, their saturator. It's a very cool saturator with a shit ton of options of different types of saturation, and then you can multi-band it and affect each band differently. Yeah.
What happened to it, or do you just?
I got the full demo. And then decided how much money I had and how much I was willing to spend on this. And the bundle that included saturator also included all the other things that I didn't really care if I had or not, and decided I wouldn't use. And it was like $300 or $400 more. And I was like, you know what? Like, if I really miss it enough, I'll just come back and buy Saturn, which
makes sense.
I hadn't thought of for a while. And then lately I've been thinking of it again. So this Black Friday, I might just buy Saturn.
Nice. Yeah, Saturn is really dope for distortion.
Have you guys used Fabfilter Pro DS?
Oh, all the fucking time. Thank you for reminding me. I love their DS.
Not my favorite, but
what's yours?
I really like. I think it's called Sibilance by Waves.
All right.
But honestly, I've really been pulling back on DSing.
Yeah.
I find it's been like very, very minimal. I find it's keeping my frequency spectrum more consistent has allowed me to place things in the mix better than when I'm DSing. So maybe I'm biased here.
Yeah, I feel you. And Seth Drake on The Approach even talks about how he isn't really into DSing when he did his vocal processing episode. And he says he'll like do all the other things like, and he does a lot of like serial processing where he'll put like 2 Pro Cs with, different settings for the body and the transients. And then he'll put, and then he'll toss in, once he knows what that feels, he'll put the Pro Q before the Pro Cs, like you were just talking about, plug-in order matters, and then like pull back on what is actually being compressed with EQ, and then readjust the compressor settings and do all sorts of cool stuff like that. But then I also got taught by Sound Oracle, soundoracle.com. They had a course, like a little free video on how to get your de-essing working better. And it was similar to Seth Drake's trick of using 2 Pro Cs in serial, doing different parts. And what he did was, since you can select your frequency range of what you're de-essing on your sidechain in Pro DS, to like find the 2 areas, because there's usually at least 2 areas that sibilants are hitting on a person's voice. And so there's going to be one like closer to the 5 to 15K range, somewhere in there that's really hitting, and one that's closer to like the 2.5 to 5 range. and they're like happening at different times at different volume levels. So it's really hard to find one de-esser setting that works for both of those. So just duplicate your de-esser, have, split up the bands to where you're actually seeing it, and then go with the highest threshold possible. So it's barely catching just those S's, and then crank up the actual gain reduction range. Once you've found that it's barely hitting when your S's, then you can crank it to where it sounds right on that. And that's how I do de-essing based on what Sound Oracle taught me.
That sounds a lot more confusing than what I do, which is slap soothe at the end of the chain and focus it around the high end.
Amen.
But that point you made on two main areas of harshness that happen at different times. Now that you like really put it like that, I have noticed that with vocals, but it never like clicked like that. I just know the way I would set up soothe would always be like 2 humps with like a little dip in the middle. And that always seems to work best.
My humps, my lovely soothing lumps.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's, I find like, I don't know. I think my mixes are probably just too busy, but I end up having to do both, like DS and then bounce and clip the remaining like super harsh S's and stuff and turn them down. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I have to
that's the best de-esser.
Yeah, I'm just a snake.
Sounds pretty.
That is really the best de-esser. It's snake jazz. Totes my jam.
So edgy.
But yeah, no, honestly, that's like, again, back to Seth Drake's course, that was his real solution. He's like, do all the other processing, and then like a lot of the EQing and soothing and shit you do on that vocal is going to take care of a lot of the S's. Mm-hmm. And then go back through, look at your waveform while you're listening and be like, oh, that S was harsh. Chop, lower, crossfade. And, just manual de-essing, but you get to manually lower that particular S by the exact amount of decibels that sounds right inside of your processing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just have a real tough time justifying the cost of the new Fabfilter Bundle when I just have Pro Q2 and Pro L regular and Pro MB regular and Saturn. Like I bought those like forever ago. Like, and I just like looking at the price tag on this, I'm just like,
As much as I love Pro Q3, whenever I've used it, I still don't have it for the same reason. And as much as I love it, being this deep into it and having all the tools I have, I'm not going to go out and get it. But if somebody's looking for a really solid suite of plugins, they have some money to pay for it. You want a really nice EQ, you want a really nice compressor, whatever that's going to last you years, get it.
Dude, I almost wish like I could go back in time and like not spend money on a bunch of shit that I don't use and just buy the fucking Fabfilter Bundle.
What's up, humans? Thank you so much for watching this clip. This is the Human Music Podcast. We come out with the episode every Tuesday. So if you want to see more of that, please hit that subscribe right down below. You can leave a comment down below also if you got a question for a future episode, or if you think there's another plugin that we and the other listeners and watchers should know about. And all these recommendations were from our episode 82, Best VSTs for Producers. So make sure you go check out that whole video too if you want a whole lot more good info. All right, till next time, peace and peace among worlds. I like it.